Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second issue of our community chatter. I hope we are live. I hope you can hear me and you can see me. If you can, please write a comment to the chat so we have a feedback that everything is working. At least what I'm checking on my mobile phone, it looks like yes, we are live. So great to hear you and see you, all of you. Couple of basic rules how this will go today. We have three great speakers today. I will introduce them a little bit later on. We have 1 hour for a discussion. We need to end at 6 because some of us have meetings after that, so hard workers. And we will be discussing a couple of topics, mainly motivation and rewards in engineering teams from the perspective of community management. But we are here also to answer your questions. So in case you have any, feel free to ask in the chat. So we will get back to them during our discussion. At the beginning, I will just shortly wrap up that this is a community event, a part of the Czech community of community builders. We are mainly active on meetup.com, where you can find us, or we are active on our community Slack. If you want to be part of our community, feel free to reach out to me. The best way would be LinkedIn, of course, and I will send you all the details you need to know to join us and to hang around with us. That would be the introduction. We don't have any sponsor for today, so no commercials. But as I said, we have a great speakers, and I will show them to the stage right away. So today with me, there is Lucka Zajíčková from Česko Digital. Ahoj, Lucko. We have Katka Peková from STRV. Hi. And we have Jan or Honza Bleha from Kiwi.com. Hi, everyone. So all of the guys are muted at the moment, but that will change soon. So I will ask you each one by one to introduce yourself a little bit and the company, and maybe some hot topics from community perspective, what you guys do at the moment, what's on your schedule. And I will ask Katka to start.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting and joining and letting me join this event. My name is Kateřina Peková. I am Tech Community Manager at STRV. For those who don't know STRV, it's software design and engineering team who creates digital solutions. We have offices here in the Czech Republic, in Prague and Brno, and also in US. Additionally to that, nowadays we are having a growing number of people working for us remotely from all over the world. And my role in the team is to create next level experiences for the external but also internal community of STRV. I'm responsible mainly for designing and executing events, but I shouldn't forget also about our blog and other community activities. So yeah, nowadays I think that the main challenge for us is to shift back to the in-person events as all the COVID regulations are starting to be loose up. And yeah, that's what we are focusing right now, to keep our events in person, hopefully internal and external as well.
Thanks, Katka, for a short intro. And I will ask the same to Honza from Kiwi.com.
Thank you, Ladja, and thank you, Katka, for the introduction. My name is Honza Jan. I've been working for Kiwi.com for already 5 years, and my goal is to make sure that Kiwi.com shines brightly in front of the engineering communities, so we attract them and we make sure that the company itself is well known and attractive for the engineering community, which is relevant for our hiring. Throughout the time, we created this community team, and with a different amount of people in the team, we organized plenty of events, conferences, hackathons, meetups, and so on, all around Europe. And currently, we are back in business because it seems to me that people are again happy to travel since the COVID times are hopefully soon over. So Kiwi.com shines, and with that, we need to get more people on board to the company. And with that, the Code Kiwi.com community team is back in the game.
Thanks, Honza. And last but not least, Lucka, feel free to introduce yourself and Česko Digital.
Hi everyone. Thanks for inviting me. So I'm Lucka from Česko Digital or Česko Digital, however you prefer to pronounce it, the Czech or English version. And I've been working in HR, recruitment, and people operations already, I think, for 5 years. And last June, I joined Česko Digital as a volunteer. And since August, I am a full-time member. And now my title is called People and Community. So I take care of the whole community. And the community is actually already more than 4,000 people on our Slack. I checked and it's almost 4,100 today. And the community is actually the very core of the whole NGO we are. So I will be representing the NGO point of view today, maybe. So I have a different one. And actually the community is full of volunteers who deliver all the projects we do. And the projects we do are mainly in cooperation with NGOs and also with the government. And it can be from health to education, financial education. It can be also drug addiction and fighting against that. So we have many fields we are focusing on. And what we are right now working on is actually the celebration of 2 years anniversary we will have in July. So this is something huge which is coming. It will be a whole week of events and I'm looking forward to that one. And we are also launching 3 projects during the summer or very early in September. So this is something which we also have on plate right now.
Thanks a lot, Lucka. So now we know all of you and our listeners and viewers as well. But I believe as this is a community event, we should maybe describe a little bit more how you guys work with the communities. What does that mean to you? Why you do it and so on. So I would maybe start with Honza. Honza, can you shortly describe what does community management mean for Kiwi.com, how we work with communities and why you do it?
Absolutely, Ladja. At Kiwi.com, the point of the community is to bring closer the specific groups of people who are relevant for our hiring. So with what we mean and what we consider as community is these groups of people who can fulfill our open positions in our jobs.kiwi.com in our career page. And that's been from the very beginning, this goal, and that's the objective. Kiwi.com grew rapidly. It was one of the fastest growing startups in the Czech Republic. We had, 100 people 5 years ago. Now we've got more than 2,000 people with offices across 4 locations, Brno, Prague, Bratislava, Barcelona, and now even London. And with that, we need to make sure that this niche audience of engineering communities are well aware of us. And our work may be very invisible for people who are a part of the engineering, and that's on purpose because the community work goes deeply into the niche segment of this targeted audience. And maybe one more thing with the community, how we look at it, because there is a huge difference between just presenting and marketing. We always take the people from inside of the company and try to generate the content either by putting our developers to the conferences or letting them write articles or creating content by our engineering. So it's not us who creates the content and make the buzz and speaks about how beautiful chairs we have in the office, but it's rather very relevant communication and connection between the people from inside of the company to the people of outside of the company and networking them and making this happen.
Thanks, Honza. Katka, do you have it similar in STRB or are there any differences?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the main goal is really similar to what Honza said in STRB. STRB is known for its public events and we love to share knowledge, and similar to what Honza said is that the content is created by our engineers and our designers, so they can share their knowledge, they can discuss the newest trends and experiences they have learned on STRB projects. So that's basically the main purpose. Also, we love to welcome people in our offices in Prague or Brno because we believe that it has a really great energy and atmosphere, and we love to share our beautiful terrace and enjoy some time over there with them. So I think for us, the experience of getting to know our culture firsthand on the event it's really important for us.
All right. Lucka, I believe in NGO like Česko Digital community is a little bit different perspective than when it comes to tech companies like Kiwi or STRV. How do you describe your community? What does it mean for Česko Digital?
Yeah, so basically Česko Digital is a community. And we have very different communities actually inside, because we started as a tech community, mostly developers, engineers, designers. But right now we also have people from marketing, communication, HR, lawyers, really like anybody who wants to join the community, they can. And also what we found out is that the NGOs we cooperate with, they don't need only the tech side, but they need to do some marketing around the projects as well. So that's why we decided to actually scale the community. So it's also pretty nice to see right now that the tech community is cooperating with the other ones inside. And also there are the NGO representatives, there are companies who work with us, who have representative in the community itself. So what we do with the tech community is basically two things. We have events. Last months or almost years, it was mostly online events, and we didn't do much because people were pretty tired from their full-time work with online activities. So the events are coming right now. Finally, again, we are planning to do the very first hackathon after COVID. So this is a nice thing coming up. And the second thing is the projects. So the community is working really hands-on on the projects. So you have the tech community, which is always a part of the project, because every project which we do has some digital solution like a website or application or whatever. So with us being a part of the community of Česko Digital, it means that you will just go to the project and you will have a really hands-on experience on something which then helps somebody else or helps the society.
All right, thanks. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to communities these days, Lucka, if you can follow?
Yeah, for sure. So actually, one of the biggest challenges is the one which we have also as the topic of today, and it's the engagement. Because as everything is opening up, many people, of course, they want to spend some time outside with their friends, or they want to start finally doing their hobbies again. So of course, what happens is that people are cutting down the volunteering activities as the very first ones. So we can see that the activity is going down, and we have lower number of the active volunteers right now. Maybe it's important to say that we are a community of 4,000 people, but only around 400 people are active these days. And we could see that during COVID, it was much, much higher number, because people were, of course, at home and they didn't have many things to do. So that's something we are working on right now, and we are trying to figure out how to work with that during summer and then later on during the year. And then the second thing is actually matching the people and people's needs to the opportunities we have, because we have some projects which are, for example, using some specific tech stack, and then we have developers who are coming and they want to work in totally different stack. So it's fun to somehow match it and find something which will suit both sides, because sometimes you have super great engineers who use super cool technologies, but you always have to think about the NGO who will then work in the technology, and it's pretty challenging. So these two challenges, and maybe I will find some answers today. So looking forward.
All right. Katka, what's the biggest challenge in community field in STRV at the moment?
Well, I think that it's quite similar to what Lucka said, considering the attendance of the people. I think that the attendance of our visitors or attendees on our events is getting down, but I mean, we are used to that, considering that there are summer holidays coming, so that's something we were expecting. Also, we had quite a challenge to transform the in-person events into the virtual ones. As I said before, the experience of being here with us in person is really important, and it's an inevitable part of our events. So we were trying to figure it out for the last year, and hopefully it was quite successful. On the other hand, it was really great because therefore we were able to reach much wider audience, which helped us with our new trend of looking also for the remote people. So we are able to reach to all the world, let's say. So yeah, that's one of the part, and the second one is also the motivation and engagement from our developers to take part in the community activities, which is why I'm really happy to be part of this, because I think that's a general topic which is like everyone is dealing with. So let's see.
Thanks. Honza, do you have a different challenges in the community field at the moment?
Yes, especially during the COVID times, because Kiwi.com is a company highly dependent on the travel. And during the COVID times, the travel was the most affected segment of the industry. And during those times, we were rather quiet because the budgets were kind of cost, even though the Kiwi.com did not fire anyone, there were no cuts on the how many people stayed in the company. Still, there was not much enthusiasm to do the big parties and hackathons as we did before those times. But these times are hopefully over, so I really hope that we are gonna get back on the track and steam up with the community endeavor yet again.
All right. So let's get back to the topic why we are here today, and the first part will be the motivation of people, how to track them and get them to the community activities and so on. So maybe I would firstly start with if you have an idea for a great community activity, how you search for active people in your company. Maybe Katka, you can start how it works in STRV when you would like to do some event. How you find the speakers and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I must say that the key role in this process lies on our platform leads, because these are the people who are in the direct touch with every single developer or designer, and they know them the best. They can see the potential for or interest in activity before we do and before we realize that. So this is our first contact, and so this is something we are discussing with the platform leads all the time, and we are picking the people who might be interested or who might be up for something. Also, we have these kind of unofficial ambassadors, so we already know about people who are active in the community and who can spread the word and motivate others. So we are working with these people as well. And so if there's no one who will just come and say, hey, I have a topic and I want to speak and please prepare the event or whatever, we are the first thing is that we do a research among the platform leads, where we find out what is the situation in each and single one of the teams, and based on that we continue with what we have at the moment. Not sure if that answer to your question, but I hope that yes.
I think that's a great starting point. Honza, how it works in Kiwi?
At Kiwi.com, as I mentioned, everything is driven by hiring purposes. So we always look at what positions we need to fill, and the positions usually we need to fill are within some kind of department or a team. And that team is usually responsible also for somehow filling those positions. So we as a community team, let's say, help them out with highlighting these positions via community activities. And of course, we engage mainly the people who are part of that team, which needs some reinforcements. And those people are the most relevant ones to communicate whatever they do to the relevant audience.
Awesome, thanks. Lucka, how it works in Česko Digital, how you search for active people, for volunteers, and for those who can bring your awesome ideas to the reality?
Well, so I think we are pretty lucky that quite a lot of people are still coming, and they just appear in Slack, and they write us that they want to somehow join. Then there is this question of matching them to the right opportunities. So that's the challenge I mentioned. But then we have two options. And the first one, which we use, is reaching out to people in our Slack, because we don't want to, or it's not the main aim to actually grow the community that much, rather than having more active people from the 4,000 we have now. So we are looking for them in Slack. We do some campaigns. We have one place where we have all the opportunities where people can just go and sign up for that. And actually right now the developers team is creating like a portal, pretty nice website where this will look much nicer even. And then we also have direct email campaigns. We reach out to people who maybe disappeared from Slack or who are not reading it that much. And then we also go outside sometimes, and we just do campaigns on our social websites like Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever we need it. And sometimes people come because of recommendations, because they heard that somebody joined us and they really enjoyed it. So this is working pretty nice too. And yeah, I think these are the main tools. And what's maybe important to say that me and the rest of the core team is doing some part of it, but a lot of volunteers are actually working on that too. So if there is a lead of the project, it's always somebody from the volunteering team, and they just go and bring some people, maybe from their company or their friends, which is also nice. We have a lot of couples who are joining us. So there is, for example, I don't know, a man who joined us and then his wife comes, so it's pretty nice to see this as well.
Awesome. That sounds great, and I believe this is the main advantage of this NGO and community-driven activities. Honza, how it works in Kiwi.com when you search for new people, how you activate them? I don't believe you found their wives and spouses and so on, but how it works there, how you activate new people?
The activation itself, someone needs to tell them. That's the first step, which is quite often it's omitted in other teams, and quite often it's not that visible. So a lot of people are about to be engaged, and they want to be visible, and they want to create content and speak at a conference, but they don't read all the Slack channels, and they don't see all the communication channels of the company, so they miss this information about this opportunity. So I think very important is to actively engage with people and ask them around, and not only via some kind of online forms, but actually meet them face to face on company events, and engage with them, ask them what they do, be interested in what they do, and then provide some kind of opportunity where they can present whatever they work on.
Do you do it somehow, like, do you have some program for that? Like, for example, do you have a list of the people you would like to meet, or is it somehow more natural?
It both works. So of course we've got a list of people who work at Kiwi.com engineering, and we've got a list of active people who are already presented somewhere. So those who already did some kind of activity are easily converted into someone who present more times. And I like myself, I go directly to the team managers, and I usually communicate with team managers the needs of personal development of the people from their teams, and I rather get direct contacts because the people managers, they know their teams, and they know who from their team is more active and more able and about to present publicly. So they usually, they hit the person, and they also provide you some kind of buy-in, providing that person's time so that they can, be used for the community purposes, and so on and so forth. But of course, again, at the same time, I chat with people informally. I visit all the parties, and I try to understand who does what, and I try to see in the community itself what is needed in the market, and what external community want to hear, and I just try to mix it together.
Thanks. Katka, how do you approach new people when you want to turn them to community active ones?
Well, I must say that I cannot agree more that people are just not reading every single message on the Slack, and it can get easily lost. So I'm saying that I'm always advocating for the community activities, even though I'm chatting with them informally or anything else, or just being in the unofficial internal event or whatever. And as I said before, our team leads knows their people the best, so they are the ones who knows who to approach. So, but except of that, we have some processes how we can interact with the people who are just starting or are at the beginning of their like community career, let's say. It starts with the new hires lunch, where we are trying to mix people with another peoples from different departments, so they can get like all the informations in informal way. And for example, when I'm on the welcome lunch, my role is to present how they can interact with the community, what activities we do, and so on. And this is just one like first touch. And then we are regularly presenting on the team meetings, where we are trying to explain the importance and the benefits of getting in touch with the community and being part of that. And also a part of that, we have prepared a program which helps people to start speaking and which reacts on their needs, and it's specifically designed for the beginners, so they can get some new experiences, but in the familiar environment of just people from the company and not public audience at the first. So these are just like few ways how we are trying to catch the new faces.
That sounds really great. Awesome. Honza, do you have some kind of activity for newcomers, some special activities for them? How they get to know the community team at the first place?
Actually, at this moment, not really. We are preparing to redesign this kind of introduction. So yes, of course, they've got the batch of information, but yeah, we are looking into the ways how to make it more excited and better.
Awesome, thanks. Lucka, how do you work with new people joining Česko Digital? What's the first like step or which you do with them to include them in the community?
Yes, so we work only or mostly remotely. Only the core team is meeting time to time, like once per week in a small co-working place. So we don't have the chance to meet people in corridors, or in the kitchen and talk to them, which I personally miss sometimes because it's easier. So what we have is a registration form, which they have to fill in to get into the Slack. So there is a batch of information we can use later on. And then we just have it in a huge database. So later on, when we are searching for somebody, we just go there, we do a short list, we go to Slack, send them a private message or find them somewhere else and just reach out to them with a specific opportunity. So that's one way. And then the other one is when they join Slack, we have an introduction channel and just say hi and what they are doing, what they are interested in. And we have actually the core team going there, replying to everybody with a personal message and offering them specific opportunities that might be good for them. So this is how we catch people in the very first moment. And I believe that it's much easier with the newcomers than, trying to reactivate somebody who is in the company or the organization for maybe half a year and they are not used to it and they already have a lot of activities around. So we are actually trying to catch them in the first hours or days and just send them directly somewhere to an activity. And the other thing is that we also work with people who already joined such an activity. We ask them how it was, if they would like to change it, if they want to try it again. And then we sometimes send them to another project, or maybe let them be a speaker at some event or a moderator or whatever they want to learn this time. So yeah, these are two ways and two kind of groups of people we are trying to reach to.
Great. We have a tip/question in the comment. Sharka is asking if any of you have experience with community bots on some online platforms. I believe all of you have, because at least within our community of community builders, we are using Donut on Slack, which basically, for those who don't know, is a tool which automatically connects you with someone from the group, and it starts the conversation, and all you have to do is just follow up, schedule the call, and meet somebody new. But do some of you use this for your communities? Any of you? I see Lucka is shaking hand up and down, so I believe, Lucka, you use it in Česko Digital?
Yeah, we do. So we use a couple of bots. We have a greet bot who is actually working very systematically with the newcomers. So we have 4 types of messages which are being sent in the very first 4 weeks, I think. And every time there are different tips for various Slack channels or some interesting articles or maybe interesting roles. So this is one thing. We don't have Donut yet, but I'm really for it. So I hope I will find some time to implement it because I think it's great. And then we do a lot still in person because I think it brings the personal touch. So we have some kind of like community lunches, community breakfasts, community events. And I think Sharka is asking also about the polls in the second part of her comment. So we do regularly check with people. And actually last month we had a well-being bot from the Greenest company, which was asking people how are they doing, if they need something else, if they have all the tools they need, etc. Some kind of like employee NPS. And the results were super amazing. And they brought us really interesting insights. And I think like, you know, like act based on this data. It's really important to gather them and then really do something about it. Instead of like thinking what people might need, they will always tell you. And sometimes it's really surprising that they really need something else than you thought. So yeah, I definitely agree with Sharka that this is important.
Honza, Katka, do you want to add something to this? Are you using some similar tools?
Well, I must say that internally for our team, we are not using at this moment any specific bot. We are not manually, but doing it what do not normally do. We doing it just in a different process, but we are not using this bot. And considering the external people, we are using polls and feedback forms at every of our events. So therefore, we are getting to know what they are interested in, what topics we should cover for the next events, and so on. Also, apart from this, we are doing these traditional community debuggers and surveys, and but I think that's more traditional and doesn't considering the bot.
Yeah, the same at Kiwi. We don't use bots that much for the internal communication. I will be more than happy to change it because I see the huge benefits. Lucia, thank you for describing how you use it for Česko Digital. It's inspiring. So definitely we are thinking, or I am thinking about doing so, but we don't have it developed yet much.
Awesome, thanks. So that would be about artificial intelligence. But again, let's get back to the people. And actually, the question we have at the chat is the one that I would like to bring up as well. And that's the question about how to actually make developers do some extra work, how to motivate them, because that's the usual like problem which we might face from time to time to activate people that they don't want to do an extra. Maybe Katka, you can start how you approach this in SDRV. What's the selling point of being community active, and how you approach your developers?
Yeah, sure. That's basically the main topic of my presentations, which I regularly do on every single department. And what I'm trying to describe there is how they can look on the benefits they get from working in the community, starting at some personal brand, also from the experience of doing something unknown or shifting your comfort zones and everything, to the point where we are sharing the successful stories, for example, from our speakers who started at the STRV internal event, moved to the public event, moved to the meetup, which was organized by someone else, and then to the conference, so they can see this career path of the speaker, so that they can get motivated, and maybe that's something they would like to reach as well. Also, another thing is that we are trying to describe as much as possible how we can help them and how we can make their efforts to be maximized. And that means that we are providing all the support they need, considering the technical background and technical solutions in the events, or copywriting, and people who will help you write the blog posts. Yeah, we are describing this. And also, apart from that, I'm always trying to show them some numbers, because that's what they want to hear. And that's where we are trying to show how it actually helps our hiring activities. And the main selling point from my point of view is that they want to work with the best people alongside. So help us to get these people and to show them what we do, and show them what you do, and they can actually help work you better. So sorry, that was a really long sentence, but I think you get what I wanted to say. So yeah, these are my selling points, basically.
Thanks. Honza, what are yours? Are those similar or are they different?
Yeah, I quite agree with Katka, what she said. For us, it's mainly 3 areas. First is growing personal brand. Second one is some kind of professional brand. And the third one is appreciation. In personal brand, we go for that. Doing something extra for the community usually makes you visible apart, outside of the company, outside of the boundaries of the company. And we've got already a couple of examples of people who started at Kiwi.com at very young age, just after the school, usually at internships level. They did a lot of community activities and they were visible enough, so large companies hire them on a much better case. And I'm actually not sad about that. I think it's nice to see people grow. And an example, for example, there was a guy who started for us working as a security manager or security engineer, junior security engineer. And within 2 years, he was hired to the security team of Facebook. So that was a huge step ahead of him. And I think this is a nice selling point for everyone considering doing community activities, that this personal visibility makes you more attractive on the job market for any potential growth of yours. The second was the professional growth. So quite often within individual development plans of the people, there is a step that they need to be able to communicate clearly whatever they work on, either by written form or by verbal form. And community activities help them out with finding opportunities where they can present what they work on. And the third is appreciation. And this is something I found very exciting, and a lot of people engage it a lot. And that's, for example, giving away merchandise and doing public applause and public kudos to all people who presented the company publicly. This works a lot. People are happy and they are nice. They are glad that they are appreciated and visible and thanked for what they did. So these 3 things work for me.
Awesome. Let's go. I believe it's a little bit different in Česko Digital. You don't have to basically make people work extra. They volunteer to do so. But do you maybe have any insights to their motivations? Why they joining? I believe you speak with them from time to time. So can you maybe share a little bit more with us about this?
Yeah, for sure. So we do regular surveys to actually find out why people join us, and if that changes actually over the time. So I definitely agree with the personal brand. Also, people are coming to Česko Digital to get some interesting experience they maybe can't get at work. And I think, but the number one is definitely something which makes sense to them. And it's very different person to person. So everybody has a different motive, which makes it even more difficult for everybody working in the community field, because it's difficult to find something in common. But I think if it makes sense to the person, they are super motivated and you don't have to sell anything. So if there is the inner motivation, they just go for it. I think with us, it's easier because they see the direct impact on the society or on the NGO they work for, and they help too. But the personal brand, the professional brand as well, because we have many people who come to get some experience in Česko Digital before they apply for some role in the commercial world. And we have some examples that people actually got some experience, and thanks to that, they got a role in the commercial world afterwards. And we have also people who, for example, want to get some specific skill. Let's say it can be public speaking, it can be leading a team, and they don't have the opportunity to do it yet in their company, and they can do it with us. So they can mentor somebody, they can write an article, they can deliver a session because they don't feel super comfortable talking in a public event yet. So Česko Digital is a safe place. So it's very various. I think it's important to talk to them, to ask, and to search for the motivation each of the people have. And then somehow, as Honza said, like mix it so something comes out of it.
Lucka, I would add two things, and thank you. You reminded me of two things which need to be said from my point of view as well. And one is that the people often enjoy it. People often enjoy what they do, what they work on, and they are so excited about whatever they invented and however they use the programming language they use, that they want to share it. From the pure joy of sharing the knowledge and making the world a better place for sharing whatever knowledge they've got. So improving the overall community with the knowledge they can spread. And the second thing is also that since the hiring is our number one motivation, we provide this opportunity with hackathons and with the educational weekends that people who join these activities from the Kiwi.com company, they can directly pick and see and introduce the people they want to work with. And that's also a huge motivation factor, because they you want to work with good people, and you want to work with people you like, and you spend significant amount of time with them, and we provide them opportunity to cherry pick those people up front and get some in-person experience with them before they actually join the company.
Maybe if I can react super quickly, thanks for bringing it, Honza, because as you said, like sharing what they made or what they created, we can also see it with us, because our CTO came up with a show and tell event, and we have actually volunteers presenting how they came up with this code or how they actually designed this page. And you can see how excited they are when they are able to share it with the world and with the community. So this is one thing. And then talking about the relations and being able to pick somebody you want to work with, I think also like being a part of the community activities, it brings you to a totally different team, totally different setup. So you can actually meet even people who you would never work with on the community events. So this might be also nice thing of team building within the company or the organization with people who are totally different than you. They're out of your team. So these are maybe the two last things I came up with.
Thanks again. I will mention very last thing, and then we can move on to the next question. Yes, Lucka, thanks for bringing it up. It often is a team building element. So quite often we organize an event where more people from Kiwi.com come together, and they together create something, some kind of activity for the external community. And it usually brings the people of the Kiwi.com closer to each other, and they enjoy that whatever they work on as a team can spread among external community as well. So yeah, team building element as well.
Okay, I just wanted to add really quickly, as Honza was mentioning the education programs, I must say that we have done STRV academies and Node.js nights and similar programs, which were a few weeks long. And based on that, we were also getting some talents into our team, and it was great. And I mean, the process of the cherry picking the candidates and actually picking the people who you want to work with in the future was a huge element over there. So I cannot agree more on that.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for bringing your answers and to overcoming the other ones. That was great. let's say you have a motivated person who would like to do this community activity, but from time to time I hear basically in larger companies, they are blocked by their managers because they don't understand why they should allow their people to do some activities on the top. So how you motivate managers to allow their people to spend their time on working on community projects? Maybe Honza, you can start.
Yeah, this is a perfect question because the managers are the key to make sure that people feel comfortable communicating whatever they want to communicate. So for me, it works from three perspectives. One is engaging with the employee itself, so making the employee want to be active. And the second one is communicating the manager the advantages of doing so, which is the hiring and which is the development of the person in his team. And the third one is going to the superior of that manager and communicating the needs for the company for doing so. So these three directions work on the manager usually quite well. And maybe to be a bit more specific, at Kiwi.com we are considering doing sprints, 2 week sprints, where we are going to plan only about 70% of the work. And whatever people have time for, they can use for basically whatever projects, and especially for the community activity. So there is time provided by the sprint planning for the community activities already given.
Awesome. Katka, do you have a different approach in STRV?
Well, I must say that this isn't an issue at STRV. I don't need to explain this community importance to our managers. We are on board, and I think that events were part of the STRV from the very beginning. So I think that's kind of in our DNA, and I have never experienced this. So I'm not sure if I can answer that. Of course, that the amount of the activity differs from manager to manager, and it's perfectly visible which manager or team lead is more interested in the community, and therefore his team is also much more active, and the other one is or like, okay, I know about it and I support it, but personally I'm not investing in that much, and you can see that his team isn't that like included as the previous one, but these are just like minor differences, and personally I don't have to advocate for community activities at our leads.
That's great to hear. So as Honza mentioned, in Kiwi.com there is a time buffer for community activities, but how it works with you in STRV? Do people have a time for community activities, or do they have to do it as an extra?
Well, they have some learning hours, and they can use them for whatever they want. Sometimes these hours aren't enough, so they have to make it or work on it on their free time. That's how it is.
All right. Lutzka, I believe in your case it will be a little bit different, but do you try to somehow engage with the whole companies to dedicate you some times or expertise in community activities in Česko Digital, or is it only based on the volunteers, on the individual ones?
So we have both tracks. You can join as an individual, no matter what your company says. But some of the volunteers, they actually go to the company and tell them, I volunteer for Česko Digital. Is it okay with you? Can I do it during my work time? And I know that some got some dedicated time by their managers for that, because they have, for example, 2-3 days per year they can use. So instead of that, they just do it long term. And then we have the partnerships with companies, because we are financed by the companies mostly. And when we do this partnership, we don't want to just get the money and that's it, but we want to really have it as a partnership. So we are looking for some common themes, for common projects we can do, for some hackathons we can co-organize, and then we bring the people inside. And of course, it's much easier when the company allows the people to dedicate some time. Many companies do it, and I'm super happy to see that you have, for example, 10% of your work time during the week you can dedicate to some NGO. And I think for the company, it's much more better when the person does it as a skill-based volunteer, instead of going somewhere and, like paint a wall or cut some trees, but they really develop during this volunteering time. And this is actually how we sell it to the companies, that this is an upskilling for the employee, and also it helps them to get some different perspective on the topics they are working on at work as well. And also the company can build a CSR project through us, because we can come up with a completely new project, or we can just put the company as a sponsor of a specific project, and then they send a whole team, and maybe they can, for example, even improve their cooperation, cross-team cooperation, communication, or they can send us a team lead or somebody who wants to be a team lead, and they can like have a trial with him in Česko Digital in a team, and they can see how it works. So there are many ways. We are trying to always look at it very individually with the company, what they need, what are the topics they are interested in. For example, we have one company which is focused on sport. So right now we are trying to figure out how to bring sport into our projects as well. So yeah, it's a very different company from company, but I see the trend that the companies are actually giving people more time to self-develop via different ways.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So we are 10 minutes before the end of our event. So I would like to remind to our viewers that in case they have any kind of question, comment, feel free to use the chat. We are monitoring it, and we will get back to this. I believe now is the time to starting formulate your questions if you have any. And we will slowly move to last topic for today, and that's rewards for the community active people, and that's also part of the motivation. And the first topic would actually be education is a reward, because Sharka is asking if you somehow helping people to engage and to get better in public speaking and so on. And I believe this is one of the greatest reward for community active people, and that's extra education. How it works in STRV, Katka?
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button. Definitely, that's a great reward for the people. We are having a STRV speakers program prepared for them. It's already the second edition. The first one was like 2.5 years ago, and it started as a series of talks from the people who are experienced speakers, who have some specific knowledge which they can share with them, with the people who are interested in the topic and so on. And now we move to another part of the speakers program, which is to actually put your skills and knowledge into the use. And it's STRV open mic. It's a format where you can sign up with any topic you are interested in, and that's something we have already mentioned before, that people want to speak about something they are passionate about. And it doesn't have to be it can be your code, or it can be your dog, or your last vacation. It doesn't matter, as long as you are passionate about and you want to tell us about it. So these events are consisting of the lightning talks. People get the first opportunity to speak publicly, but in the safe environment of STRV people, and with our mentors present, so they can get a feedback, or they can get some help with the preparation of the talk and so on. So this is the event, and it also serves as a great social event for the others, because you get to know your colleagues, you get to meet your colleagues, especially now when we are online, everybody, but we are planning on doing it also like in-person events. So this is our speakers program at this moment, and we are preparing many more workshops and talks as well. So we will continue with this activity definitely.
Katka, I would have a quick question.
Sure.
How many people from STRV approximately are active in the communities?
Well, it depends on the team. At this moment, I don't have a specific number. It depends. Different people participate in the events, and different people are writing blog posts. Sometimes this cross, and they are doing both. But I must say that some of them prefer to speak, and some others prefer to write. At this moment, I would say like 30, 40, something like that. And we have about 200 people.
Mm-hmm. So about like 12-14%.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Do you prefer a smaller amount of people being very active, or do you prefer having a lot of people from the company being active just a bit?
I couldn't say that we have a preparation on this. We are trying to work with everyone individually. That means that if we see the potential in someone, we are trying to help them or him or her be as active as possible, and for the others at least set the stage and let them grow on that. So I think we are trying to attract both of these groups. But I don't think that from our point of view there's any specific strategy in this kind of differences.
Thanks. I asked because we at Kiwi.com are actually considering between those two approaches, even have a small amount of, let's say, tech evangelists who would be speaking a lot and going to the conference, and it would be a large part of their job description, or having a lot of people across the teams who would be networking among their specific communities, and they would have it as just, a lot of people, but each person doing a bit.
I understand.
Actually, we deal with the same question, even though we are an NGO. And we actually figured out that we will go both ways too, as Kačka mentioned, because some people have only 1 hour per week, 1 hour per month. Some have, 5 hours per week they can give us, or they are more excited, or they have maybe more confidence at the moment. So it's difficult to combine it, but we have like both ways: people who are long-term volunteers with us, people who just come and have one session for the community, one workshop. So yeah, I believe it might work in the company as well, that you just have like 2 tracks kind of.
Yeah, I see the question in the chat, just very quickly, if I may, Ladia. It's about the confidence of the speakers or confidence of the people from the engineering teams. And at Kiwi.com, this is an issue, but it's not always an issue from the perspective of public speaking confidence or confidence of writing an article. But quite often the smartest people doing the most high tech work, they don't have confidence enough in what they do. So they're like, rocket science, everyone does it, everyone knows it. Why should I tell everyone? How do you deal with that, Katka? How do you persuade people to be more confident, both in soft skills and the hard skills?
Well, as I said, in the soft skills and in the skills, considering the presentation itself, we did a lot of talks and workshops where we are trying just to show them and teach them somehow. And considering the content, well, I think there's this role of the lead who knows and shows you and helps you to shape the topic and support you and tell you that this is something valid and this is something that might be interesting for other people as well. So that's it. And I'm the biggest cheerleader ever, so I'm always like, yay. That's it.
All right, I'm happy we get back to that question, which I almost missed. So thanks, Honza, for doing that. So our time is slowly coming to an end. We have a couple of questions in a buffer, but we will maybe answer them later on. Last question I have for each of one of you, and that will be one main reason why you personally believe people should be community active. Like, what do you believe is the number one reason people should be community active? And Honza is laughing, so I will give him a time to think about it a bit more. Katka, can you start?
I think that the reason is that you might get much more that you are putting there.
Awesome, thanks. Lucka, why people should be community active? Number one reason, in your opinion?
I have a lot of reasons, but I think the main one is it just brings you a different perspective to your daily work, and you can learn so much from that experience.
Awesome. And Honza, if you can close it with your.
Absolutely, because the mark of strength is vulnerability, and being community active means being a bit vulnerable, because you share something. It's you standing on the stage or you writing an article with your name on it. but it makes you stronger, and it makes whatever you say stronger. And sharing is caring.
Awesome. And with that, I believe this is the end of our event for today. Thanks for everyone who watched us for the whole time or for a part. If you're still with us, feel free to share any kind of feedback or feelings you have at the moment. We will be still monitoring the chat. It will be active for a couple of more minutes, seconds. So feel free to express yourself. For the others, thanks a lot for watching as well. If you have any more questions coming in your heads, even if you are watching this as a recording, I believe I'm speaking for all of us. Feel free to connect via LinkedIn. We'll be more than happy to get back to you, to have a discussion about community, about motivation, rewards, any kind of discussion. If you are more into the community building, feel free to join our community. Let me know. I will get you in our Slack, where you can engage with others. You can meet new interesting people. You can join us, and hopefully in one of the future events, you will be the one on the stage sharing your experience. And that's all from my side. Thanks a lot one more time for Lucka, Katka, and Honza, and have a great rest of the day for all of you. Bye.